Hello, everybody. How are we all? Can everybody see me? Give me a thumbs up. Beautiful, thank you. And hear me okay? Thank you for joining us on this chilly Wednesday night. We're so excited to have you all here. We were just chatting the other day and kind of went, what are you doing on Mother's Day? And then we were a bit inspired by the Coronation and afternoon tea and sort of high tea and yummy things. So we got chatting and went, oh, why don't we just do a little thing on Wednesday night and get a few of our favourite customers along and entertain them and entertain ourselves, because, you know, we're all a bit flat midweek. Oh, it's wet, it's cold. So we went, you know, this always perks us up. So we hope it perks you up too. I had a little bit of a look at the registration, and I think nearly everybody here has actually already got a TM6 on their bench. So what that tells us is that you've got it and you want to be inspired and be doing more with it. And the thing that we're really excited about is that we are back in homes doing demonstrations, because we really missed that during COVID. And I feel like last year people were still a bit unsure, and this year we've all been doing lots of demos in people's homes and actually standing around benches and sharing food and smelling the food and tasting the food and all pressing the buttons and just really enjoying that togetherness. So, you know, feeding our families and cooking is something we all have to do 3 times every day. So let's make it fun. And we all know that the TM6 does that. So for those who may not have a TM6 on their bench yet, I'm just going to do a really quick little intro to my little business partner over here. And what you'll see, because I know that a couple of you are previous model Thermix owners. So the beauty of that is that the Thermix language is the same regardless of which model you have. So time, temperature, and speed. Super easy. So what that means is that anyone in the house can cook. They don't need to know how to cook. They just need to know how to read, because what the TM6 does have, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see, is our built-in cookie dough recipe platform. So for anyone who's not familiar with the term cookie dough, it's basically our Netflix for recipes. So through here, and I noticed in that video, I always have a little dance to that video because I love the tune, but I do notice it says 40,000 recipes. Well, I can share with you that it's actually now over 80,000 recipes. So there's videos, there's recipes. You can search by genre or by ingredient. So you've got lots of options there. And then the other way that we cook is with all of these different modes. So if you're not familiar with all the modes, we do have options with our demos that we can do a modes demo as well. So, and it, you know, a bit like having a phone, if all you do is text and make calls, you know, that's handy, but you're not getting the most out of it. It does a lot more. So with the Thermix, it's very intuitive. And when you get them, we find that people go, oh, I don't need a demo, I've figured it out. And then they'll go to a demo and go, wow, I've just learned so much tonight. So it's about getting the most out of it, because, you know, you don't know what you don't know. That's one of our favourite sayings in our team. You don't know what you don't know. So please get us over. We love cooking with you, and it means that you can get lots of really good host rewards as well, which we will talk about throughout the night. But rather than me banging on about that right now, I'm going to go over to gorgeous Julie, who has got our first delicious dish for the night. Over to you, Jules.
Thank you.
There we go. There you are.
Hi, everyone. And I'm Julie. And I'm very excited to make the scones because they are so easy. There are so many recipes for scones, but if you haven't made scones before, because it sounds a little scary, try the buttermilk scones. Okay, so trust me on this. Okay, so I'll bring you a little bit closer. During COVID, this was probably one of my kids' favorite things to make. So it's great. Like, he was 5, and as long as you can read, like, they can follow it. So first, the instructions is preheat the oven to 220. So I've already done that. Line a tray. So I've actually already got my tray here. I use the silicone trays that you can get from the mix shop, and they are fantastic. So we can just always reuse them. First ingredients is 440 grams of self-raising flour. Okay, so I'll pop that in. Now, I'm pretty sure I always make a bit of a mess, but that's okay. A little bit over, but that's okay. That means probably an extra scone there. So for anyone that likes this is guided cooking, but you don't have to follow it to a T. And I think it's a little bit over because I had already added the caster sugar in there and also the pinch of sea salt. Now, the next step is 60 grams of butter. I'm pretty sure once I make this, you're going to be like, is that all you have to do to make scones? Okay. Now insert my measuring cup, bowl and lid, hit next. Now, for 5 seconds, it's going to turn to speed dial 8, and it's just going to mill that all together. Okay. If you look at it and you feel like, you know what, it's not it doesn't feel like it's crumbled enough, then you can repeat it. But look at that. So you can't see the butter. It's all blended nice and fine. Okay, so that's pretty good for 5 seconds. And if we hit next, we've got buttermilk. Okay, so I'm just going to pour my buttermilk. If you buy buttermilk and you feel like, you know what, sometimes you can't, use it all in time, don't worry, because, you can freeze it. Okay, so I'm going to pour this. I must admit, sometimes I'm short, like tonight. I'm going to replace it with just milk. Okay, and trust me, it will still work. If you want to as well, you can make your own buttermilk just from milk, and you can add a couple of teaspoons of either, 1 teaspoon of probably vinegar or lemon. Someone might be able to correct me if that's wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I
Yep.
usually just use lemon juice.
Yeah, so there you go.
Buttermilk.
So now I'm just going to blend that for 20 seconds. I'm going to show you. So that's blended. But what we're going to do now is keep our measuring cup in there and click next. And for 20 seconds, it's actually going to knead. Now, if you've never kneaded dough, I will show you a close-up of just how cool it is. Just bring it closer. How good's that? I think when it's cold, sometimes our wrist gets a little bit sore. So, having that knead feature, it's pretty handy for me.
I had one of my very, very first customers, which was nearly 10 years ago, because I actually just celebrated 10 years at Thermix, messaged me after she got her Thermix and said, I've just made scones successfully for the first time. She said, normally doing them by hand or with other mixers, I've overworked them and they turn into little rocks. She said the Thermix makes it perfect every time.
I totally agree. The first time I thought, I'm going to give it some more love and I'm going to knead it a little bit more. Well, yeah, I end up with rock scones as well. So, you don't need to give it too much love. Now, here, there is, actually, I should have brought it closer, silly me. There is actually instructions here. So if you've never made scones before, on some of our recipe, there is actually a little play button. So if you hit play, it would actually tell you what you need to do. So if you don't have a scone cutter, I'm sure we have cups lying around in our kitchen and everything. So you can use a cup, or, they can be rustic and you can just roll it and just, use your cutter and just cut them into triangles as well. So you can do whatever you like. There's no rules on it. I normally just do mine in little circles, but, you don't have to. So that will play the video. So if you have, or, you know what to do, you can skip that video. You don't have to watch it, but it's pretty cool. I think that it gives you instructions on just, how easy it can be to make scones though. So that's nearly, I think, finished. That's got another 2 seconds. So there we go. If I hit close there, that was just telling us what to do. Now I'm going to click no, next, and basically just show you how easy it is. Okay, so it's going to go down here. Let me show you just how easy that was. Okay, so when I tell everyone you can get scones, when I have, unexpected guests over, and I'm like, oh, it's okay, you're coming. I'll quickly make some scones. And they're like, don't go out of your way. But like, that's all right, it'll be ready in 15 minutes. So makes you feel a bit fancy. So I put a little bit of flour on the bottom. If you can't get it out, I just normally give this little knob, little light turn, and have a look here. Most of the time, it comes all the way out. Of course, today it's not going to, but look, that's actually pretty clean. Okay. Now, all you got to do now is, I normally just put a bit of flour on my hands. You don't need to work with it too much. Just lightly press it down. Okay, and then if you didn't want to do anything, else you can actually just, like I said, cut them into triangles. Okay, so there's no rules. Okay, so oops, dip that in there, squeeze a little bit flat. Whenever I have a leftover at the end, my son normally gets, Mum, make me a huge one at the end. So he normally gets this one that's about double the size. So he always gets quite excited by that. So you just do that. And then
it's pretty with the little crinkly edges, Jules.
It is, isn't it? And like, I mean, I got this, I don't know, it was many years ago. I'm pretty sure inflation has popped it up a little bit more, but I got this for $2 about 15 years ago. You know, it might cost a little bit more. We know everything costs more.
I think what you said before too, someone can say, oh, I'm popping in, and you think whip up some scones.
Yeah.
If you had to do that manually, you probably wouldn't, because it'd make a big mess.
Exactly.
Whereas throwing it all in the Thermix and then you throw the Thermix in the dishwasher,
yeah,
you drop those scones, you do really look like Martha Stewart, don't you?
you really do. So, you know, and if you were fancy, you know, like sometimes, you know, when I get like the fruits cheap, I make my own jam. You know, I always have cream in the fridge, and it's like, oh yeah, I just whipped this up, you know, so.
A humble brag.
That's right. And then see, like, I'm not even kind of pushing it, you know, nice and neat. It doesn't matter. Like the end ones, like I said, can be a little rustic. And like, that is how easy it is. I might satisfy Hayden tonight. We'll give him his big one. Well, maybe I'll give it to you. It's too big. he won't complain. I normally pop them pretty nice and close to each other. And then basically, I will bake this for like about 15 minutes. And then when it's ready, by the time, you know, we get through, you know, you and Mandy, we'll show how easy it is to also whip your own cream. So
awesome. Thank you, Julie. Thank you
Not
so
a problem.
much. We'll head over to the gorgeous Mandy and see what she's got cooking tonight.
Hello, welcome to my kitchen. So I am doing a little sweet number. It's the Seriously Lemony slice. And you'll see it on Cookie Dough, and it is actually made as a slice, but I'm just doing a little bit of a twist on that, but it's the same recipe, and we'll get going. And something I just thought I'd mention is, if you ever see that Cookie Dough is going to be down for maintenance or anything like that, or I'm having a little bit of internet problems, then what you do is you save your recipes to a collection, because if Cookie Dough is down, you could still access your recipes in collections. You cannot access through Cookie Dough, and you cannot, if you put things into your week, they won't show up. But what I've done tonight, because the whole internet thing on my Thermix was playing around a little bit, I've just gone into my collection and I found the recipe in there. All right, so it's just, if it is down or it's not working for you very well, save it to a collection. All right, so the Seriously Lemony slice. My eating like Julie's does it too, and it says to line a brownie tin. This is where I do things just a little bit differently. And again, I love silicone. These are not from the mix shop, but I did notice, we were actually down at Moorabbin last week, and there is an amazing looking silicone mini muffin tray there. So if you haven't got one, definitely worth going to the mix shop and having a look. But I'm going to make them here, and I'll show you what that looks like at the end. But I'm just going to make little round ones, which I think looks quite nice for an afternoon tea rather than a slice. Okay. I am using gluten-free flour. So I have 180 grams of plain flour. I don't know about you, but I find that a lot of the slices and cakes have a little bit too much sugar in it for me. So I do cut down on the sugar, and I've got about 90 grams in here instead of 125. Bit over 90.
And that's actually a good tip, Mandy. With baking, you can really substitute gluten-free flour 1-for-1, can't you, for baking?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So that's just mixing the flour and the sugar together for 5 seconds. And then I'm going to add 125 grams of cold unsalted butter. Remembering that if you click forward like I did, whoops, like I did there, throwing everything all over the floor here, you must make sure that you tell your scales, so that you know that you are starting off at 0 and not at a minus number, and you have no idea where you are. So here's my butter. And we're just doing 15 seconds on speed 8.
These are the sorts of things that are so great in the Thermomix because you're not getting butter and flour and sugar all over your hands. So you can be kind of multitasking because you've got clean hands while the Thermomix does it for you.
You couldn't probably couldn't hear that, but the noise changed and I could tell it was coming together. So here it is all come together at the end. And what I'm going to do is just put that into those little individual mini muffin things. I'll just do a couple so you can see, and then we can move on. And this then goes in the oven. So I'm just going to put some in there and just literally push it down with my fingers. So you obviously can make it as a big slice, but I just think this looks quite nice, particularly if it's for an afternoon tea. So I'm going to fill these up and I'm going to bake them for 15 minutes. All right, so if you want to keep going, Michelle, I will quietly do my thing in the background.
Beautiful. All right. Oh, thanks, Jules. Back to me. So the dish that I chose is a bit of a classic, and I guess, you know, as I said, linking Coronation and Mother's Day, we're Coronation chicken sandwich filling. So I fast tracked that a little bit because I've already pre-steamed the chicken, but I'm going to turn you around. So this is one of those things where, yes, it's lovely for a little high tea or whatever, but it's also a delicious filling to put in wraps and sandwiches for school lunch boxes as well, because, you know, if we can do something that has multi-purpose, then that's always handy. The other thing is that when you steam and shred your own chicken, it actually yields a lot. So if you do that on a Sunday night, you've got that for the week. So you might do some as a mix with the flavouring, but you might just keep some as plain shredded chicken, which you could add on a salad, or you could add if you're making a chicken and vegetable soup. So it's a really handy thing just to have in the cupboard. And again, you've done it yourself, so you're not buying a sort of processed meat, if you know, because I know a lot of customers now are trying to avoid those things, but also when you pay for that, or when you buy a process, you're paying extra for that process. So the beauty of the Thermix means that you can create that process yourself. So I'm just going to bring you in and show you the screen here. So as Mandy mentioned, the recipes are on the screen here. Now this, I'm going to go back actually and just show you. This is in my week. So I saved it in my week, but if I was having internet issues, I could also create a collection. So this, with Cookie Do, you can add things to your weekly planner and you can have your recipes sort of lined up there. Now, one of the clever little things you can do is change the view to a calendar view. So what that does is show you previous things as well. Whereas when you're in the other view, it just shows you from today forward. So I can jump in here and look at that and go, oh yeah, I need those ingredients. I'm going to add that to my shopping list. You can move it to another day. So if you do your weekly planner and then something happens that you don't eat that thing that night, you can switch it around. But I'm just going to start cooking. So when you go into a recipe, you can scroll through and have a look at the ingredients and get all your bits and pieces ready. So when you do start cooking with this recipe, the first thing it does is steam the chicken. And so as I said, in the interest of you guys not just watching this steam for 25 minutes, I've done that already. And I'm just going to show you. So it says to add a litre of water and then about half a kilo of chicken breasts, and then just sort of cut them in pieces. And you can see I haven't had to sort of shred them up or cut them small. It just sort of said to cut them into chunks. So I have a look at this here. It says place aroma into position and then add in the chicken. So half a kilo of chicken, approximately 3, and just halved horizontally. So I actually cut them into 3 because I got confused by that 3 bit. So leave some holes. So you'll notice that the way I've got this, you can actually see that there's the holes in the bottom of the varoma are still available for the steam to come through. And then it's steamed for 25 minutes on the varoma temperature. So varoma is just the 2 words vapor and aroma, and we get with that steam. So remove the chicken and let it cool down. So that's, I've done that. And then get rid of the steaming water. So I'm just going to get rid of that whole jug and get a whole new jug, because one of the beautiful things about being a consultant is that we have the opportunity to earn lots of extra things, and an extra jug is one of them. Having said that, I'm just going to do a little shameless plug here on the benefits of a demo. We do have an offer this month that if you host in May and you have a guest that purchases a Team 6, you can access a second jug for only $99. So they are $375. So if you're, cooking and going, oh, a second jug would be handy, this is the offer for you this month. Let your consultant know and she'll book it in with you. All righty. So clean bowl, ready to go. So now it's going to shred the chicken, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to show this dish, because shredding chicken is one of those things where it's a really nice thing to be able to have and do. And what this does in the Thermix is it replicates how it would be if you were doing it sort of with 2 forks. So add the chicken. Just going to pop that back in there. That aside. Pop the lid on. Better grab my little measuring cup as well. And now it's just 10 seconds. And now it does it on reverse. So it does that. It uses the flat side of the blade. So you're not going to get minced chicken. You're going to get, as I said, shredded chicken, which is sort of what it would look like if you were doing it with 2 forks. And just on speed 4 for 10 seconds. Just do a little dance while that's doing that.
Michelle, the other thing with hosting this month is if people, if it's a delivery demo for them and someone, then they actually get access to a 20% discount code for the mix shop. And we do have the cutter hopefully arriving later in the month. And that's a really good reason to use a 20% discount, I would think.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mandy. Thank you for bringing that up. Have a look at that shredded chicken. How good is that? So as you can see, it hasn't minced it up. It's actually just made it really nice and shredded. Now this is, because this is a sandwich filling, this is quite fine. If you wanted it to say put in a soup and you wanted it a little bit chunkier, then you could certainly just do that for a little bit less time and you would get a chunkier. So if it was sort of going on top of a salad, then you could do it that way. But this is perfect for a sandwich filling. So transfer to a bowl, set aside. Now, these ingredients now, really simple ingredients. And the beauty of this is you can actually, do whatever you like. So this is parsley. Now it said raisins. I didn't have raisins, but I had raisins. So I think they'll be pretty good. And it says peanuts, but because I want to put this in the school lunchbox, I'm actually using sunflower seeds. So again, you can really play with ingredients as far as put in what you think your family will like and what you've got in the pantry as well. All righty. So in those couple of ingredients go. And now it's just 3 seconds on speed 5. I always love these things. There's no way I could do anything that productive in 3 seconds. Okay. You can see that that's given those things a bit of a chop. I'm actually noticing some of my craisins are quite big. So I'm actually going to give it another 3 seconds just so they can break down a little bit more. If it was a salad, I wouldn't mind so much. But being a sandwich filling, I want it to be kind of more pieces and smaller pieces. Perfect. That's exactly how I want it. You can see that there. Cool. So next is to add the mayonnaise. Now, the mayonnaise, if you've never made mayonnaise, please have a look on Cookie Do at the recipe called cooked mayonnaise. It is absolutely amazing. And confessions of a Thermix consultant, prior to that recipe coming onto Cookie Do, I tried mayonnaise and I just, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I was a little disheartened. And I just went, you know what, I'm just going to buy mayonnaise. But that cooked mayonnaise recipe, you cannot stuff it up. It works every time and it is delicious. So now it just says to add the reserved chicken.
I love it also. You can do half a batch if you think you can't use it all.
Exactly, actually, really good point. Yeah. Pop in the chat if you've made that and what you think of it. Because I used to buy, just to give you a comparison, the Tomy one, which is quite expensive, $6, $7, I think it is. So last but not least, there's a couple of spices. So there's 2 teaspoons of curry powder and a teaspoon of turmeric. That gives it that royal gold colour. And now it's half to a teaspoon of salt. So grind away. That's the Italian in me. Love a bit of salt. But you know, if you use the good salt, it's actually okay. And then a bit of pepper as well. And again, these things are to taste. So whatever you like. I used to, does anyone remember Schwab's sandwich bars? Is there any of those still around? I used to do a lovely chicken sandwich with like walnuts and celery and all sorts of things. All right, so all my mixture is in there. Now it's 30 seconds, but it's only on speed 1 because again, all our things were chopped the way we want them. So we don't want to chop anything up. We just want it to get through the mayonnaise so we get that beautiful flavouring. And what I'm going to do in a minute when it's ready is I'm going to put it in a wrap. So this is quite cool actually because I've got the school lunches ready for tomorrow. It's just a step ahead of myself. I was sorry, I got distracted then because a question just popped up in the chat from somebody asking if they could go to Moorabbin and go shopping. Is that you, Sandy? Sorry, no. But you know what? Between us, we own most of the things that are on the mix shop. So if you want to see any of them, please let me know. All righty. Oh, wow. Look at that. All right. So that's my beautiful chicken mix. I wish you could smell it because it actually smells amazing with the curry powder and everything. I need to go and get my proper spatula, but I'm just going to put that there. But as Julie pointed out before, if you give the blade a little twist from the bottom there, it will actually help any food fall out. And then I've actually got a little bit still stuck on the blade. So I'm going to give you all a little bit of a tip. And the tip is, now normally I would do a turbo, but I don't really want to do a turbo because I think it'll be too aggressive. So I'm just going to do 2 seconds on speed 5. Probably could have done 1 second listening to that. So who's had their Thermix long enough that you can cook with your ears? I remember my consultant saying that to me many years ago, and they're going, oh, I don't know, but it is something you pick up very quickly. So see, that's just flicked everything off the blades there. So now I can scrape that all out and not waste any. So while I'm doing that and making my wrap to show you how pretty it will look, I think Mandy, is it you, Mandy?
You can come back to me and I will, I've still got my things baking, but I've got to make the top section anyway.
You've got to make your lemony bit. Your
My
lemony bit.
I do.
Lovely. All right, back to you.
All right. So just something else to show you on here too. I don't know if you've noticed, but in the top center of your screen, there's actually a little thing that you can pull down, and that's, oops, send it back again. And that's a timer. So actually put the timer on for the base, and it just sits away there, and or just ticks away there behind the scenes. And you know how if you leave it Thermix, it will turn off after 15 minutes if it hasn't been used. If the timer's working, it doesn't turn off. All right. So I'm going to make the seriously lemony bit, and I do have 30 grams of caster sugar, which is going in, and 2 lemons. So it's a very fine peel on the lemons. And this is actually really, if you're making anything that needs it's baking and you're using rinds, it's really good to actually blitz them up with the sugar. For some, it just makes them finer. So they're going in.
Well, and our other tip is if you're using something where you just need the lemon juice, take your rind off and pop it in the freezer.
Absolutely. Yep. Or dry it out. Add it to salt when it's dry. Okay. So that's what it looks like at the moment. I mean, you can see I've got a bit of sugar around the sides there too. I'm going to scrape it down. And 20 seconds on speed 10. So I don't know if you saw that. I can have a look at a preview to see what's next. And the next thing I'm going to have to do is insert the butterfly whisk. But I'm going to scrape this down first because it's all over up the sides here. Smells amazing. Okay. All right. Now, when you put your butterfly whisk in, the best thing to do is to pop it over your blades and just give it a little tiny twist towards the rounded side of the blades. And anybody know what the maximum speed is with the butterfly on? Pop it in the chat. 4. 4, yes. Excellent. Who was that? Oh, no one's owning up now. All right.
Sorry, Mandy, it was me, Deborah.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. All right. So it says 270 grams of caster sugar. As I said, I don't put the full amount in, but there is something to bear in mind because I learned by mistake and I saw that Pearl was on here and she had to eat some of this. I made a cake once and I halved the sugar. You can only decrease to 2/3. Otherwise, it actually affects the structure of the cake and the cake was really dry. So I've got about 200 grams in here.
I did not know that. I've learned something tonight. I love that.
Well, there you go. It was actually our amazing Irene who found that one out, but she did some research.
I've always wondered that if it affected it in
Yep.
from a scientific perspective. So there you go.
Absolutely. And I've got 4 eggs here. It's going on. And this is going to mix up for 3 minutes on speed 4. But just before I do that, I'm just going to show you on here. I've got 2 minutes, 59 seconds left. So that's always really good to be able to come back to that. So I'm going to whip this up, Michelle, if you want to do your next thing.
Do you want to go to you, Jules, or do you want to? I can show something if you're.
I'm easy. I'm easy. My scones are ready though.
Are they? I'm going to quickly. Let's just hang on. Let's go add spotlight and let's go add spotlight. Oh, we're all here. Woohoo! Hang on. I just put my chicken mix in a wrap, but I just thought I'd quickly show how I'm cutting it up because I've actually got the Thermix knife with a guide. So it's got this guide here and you can pop it in and then tighten it to the width that you want it. And then if I just go down here, then I can actually slice it and get them all the same size to make it look pretty on the plate.
How cool.
It is a little bit of a wet mixture. So what I should probably do is just, yeah, there we go. If I go like that, and then I'll go through and push them.
That's very clever.
Yeah. And then I'll take that out actually, because that'll be, there we go. Because the mixture's wet with the mayonnaise. It was just sticking a little bit. So there you go. All right. I just thought I'd show that because this is actually, when you make your own bread in the Thermix, this is actually one of my favorite little, it's now black. I've had mine for many years, but it works really well. So one of my favorite mixture items. All right. Over to you, Jules.
Perfect. Well,
We love sharing, don't we?
we do love sharing, don't we? I did do a pre-clean on my dough. So I just wanted to quickly show you. So that's a pre-clean where you just pop a little bit of water, one little squeeze of detergent. You don't need to put too much. You pour it out and you have a quick look. That's done a pretty good job. So then just makes it a little bit easier for you to, wash later on. So just wanted to show you that. But I wanted to also share how easy it is to make cream with my other bowl. So that is our host reward for this month to the end of the month. So I'm just going to grab my cream. And just like Mandy was saying with the butterfly whisk, if you use any guided recipe, it won't allow you to go past 4. But if you want to use anything manually, there is, right, if you look at your butterfly whisk, it will tell you maximum 4. Okay, so I must admit, not many people will read it, but just to let you know, it is actually there. Now cream. So I've got my bottle of cream. If you're like me, and originally I had a KitchenAid, which I love so much, but I was used to that whipping just that little bit longer for cream. So the first time I made whipped cream, I ended up with butter and buttermilk. So if that's what you want, you know, keep whipping. So, you know, if you don't have any buttermilk, so my local Woolies, I was having a lot of trouble finding buttermilk. I probably could have brought like a really big bottle of cream that was probably going to expire soon. Whip it, grab some cream, take it out, and then continue to let it whip hard, a little bit longer, and it would have broken apart and we could have butter and buttermilk. Okay, so don't waste anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this down. I'm going to set my timer for 30 seconds on speed 4. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to grab one of my scones. So there you go, that's coming out of the oven. Okay. Now, like I said, I normally do make my own jam, but I cheated and brought jam this time. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own cream. Now, if you really wanted to, you could, you know, you can pop a little bit of, you know, vanilla or, you know, a little bit of sugar in your cream, but I just like mine plain. But look at that. You got cream, instant cream. Okay, so Michelle will be used to me, but I love doing taste tests, you know, not really to rub it in, but, you know, just to show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to show you. Okay. So you don't even need a knife to cut it. It's so soft. Now, what's the rule? Do we, you know, do the jam first or butter? Isn't there like a big debate on, you know, that?
Oh, no, it's, yeah, cream and jam or jam and cream. Hop in the chat. Which one are you?
You know, I don't want to offend anyone.
Your jam and cream. I'm jam and cream too.
And I did realise that tonight when I was making my scones, I actually didn't even need to use my spatula. So how good's that? I mean, like we say the Thermix, you know, is, you know, gives us a little bit less mess, but I mean, I didn't even have to use a spatula. So here we go, you know.
Pretty unanimous, jam then cream. I don't know, who are the weird people that think the cream goes first? I'm not sure.
So
I can't remember which way around it is, but I know in Devon it's one way and in Cornwall it's the other way, and I should know, but I don't. I just tried to Google, but as my internet is so bad on my phone, I couldn't find out. But there's definitely rivalry between the two different counties in the UK on that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. Greg would be able to tell us. He's from UK, isn't he?
Any intel, Greg? Too scared to admit. Greg, are you cream first?
He is cream first.
No. Love it. I love it.
We won't kick you out. We won't kick him out.
Thank you for sharing those. Pop in the chat if you're going to make scones for Mother's Day.
Delicious.
It's the Welsh way.
Well,
that explains a lot.
That's probably the Cornish way then too, because they're both Celts.
Love it. Love it.
All right, do you want to come back to me and
back to the gorgeous Mandy while Julie continues to eat her scones.
Bit jealous. Anyway, so my eggs and sugar have whipped up here. And now I'm adding 40 grams of plain flour, and again, this is gluten-free. Just make sure you spread it around, not particularly over the butterfly. 125 grams of lemon juice, which is about 4 lemons, it suggests. Go. Ten seconds on speed 3. My little bases have come out of the oven. Down the sides. 10 seconds on speed 3. And then I'm just going to remove the butterfly whisk and pour over these little bases that I've made. I'll just do a couple because I have actually got some finished ones. So literally just filling up these silicone molds with the topping. And just there's quite a few things you can actually modify to go in here. And I've got a few I can show you. But if you are going to use, try and make these little round things instead of a slice, it's actually really important that it's silicone, because what you need to do is pop up right from the middle of the bottom of the silicone, push it up through. If it was, you know, the beautiful rose gold that we got in the mix shop, but if it was that, you'd have to tip or, you know, get something, try and lever it out. Whereas with this, you can just literally pop it up with your fingers. All right, so I'll just do a couple more of these. There we go. Right, I can finish that a bit later, just move it out of the way. Michelle, do you want me to show the finished items now?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So in true English fashion, we have a little stand here, little cake stand. And you can see these are the little lemon things. So these have actually turned out quite nicely. And I just think it looks really nice. And they're just a couple of mouthfuls. It's a nice thing for an afternoon tea. So those are the lemon ones. Down the bottom here, these are like a caramel, you know, one of those caramel slices. I could probably be a little bit more, I don't know, make them look a little bit prettier than that. But again, what I've done is I have done those in the mini muffin thing. And these are actually a little chocolate cake. So generally, most things that I make in our house, I make into mini muffin molds and I freeze. And then we've just got a little snack, so we're not, you know, we can have two. or we can stop ourselves from picking out and just have one. So I just thought that was a really nice idea for an afternoon tea. So I'd love to know if any of you guys like that idea or what else you would make in that shape. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Mandy. I think that's gorgeous. And I actually love the whole mini muffin thing. I remember years ago when I discovered Brunetti's in Lygon Street, and they do lots of minis. So you didn't have to decide which cake you wanted. You could get 3 or 4 mini ones and try everything. So that's the beauty of something like that. I'd be going, which one do you want? No, all 3, thanks. And the mini bit takes the guilt away, doesn't it? Beautiful. So I just made mine into little wraps. Thank you so much, Mandy. I will let you go and then just... So I just made this into little wraps, and I actually, the endy bits that weren't as pretty, I actually said to my daughter, try this. And she went, oh, that's delicious, Mum. What is it? And she actually said, oh, the cranberries are good. So you can really just, you know, do anything with that. But again, doing things that I just need to stick that up there. Put a bit of extra mayo to stick the ends in. But just to do something where it's, you know, it's that finger food. And we like something that's one bite and pop it in your mouth. But that's a really lovely mixture. I've squashed it all into this container, but I'm going to probably get a couple of days of wraps out of that, which is awesome. So again, you know, it doesn't just have to be Mother's Day or a high tea. It can just be, you know, your school and work lunch boxes. So if you like the idea of that, let me know. But also you can play with those flavors as well. So we'll just serve that, you know, with some salad for dinner. Pretty easy as well. So thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the 3 little things we did tonight. We wanted to pick things that were a little bit different. But as I mentioned before, we do want to come and cook with you in your kitchens, and we do all have lots of things from the mix shop. So we'd love to share those with you as well. You did notice, obviously, Julie had the mats tonight. This is a little, I think I might have even learned this from you, Julie, but I keep mine stored wrapped up in a tea towel like this. And these are fantastic because they can go in the oven as well. And they're actually one of our host rewards as well. So if you are interested in knowing a bit more about what our other host rewards are, please speak to your consultant and we will look at that. And if you're looking at us going, they're a fun bunch, I want to hang out with them, we have always got room in our team to welcome you. We love having new people, and we all, even tonight, I've learned stuff tonight from these girls. Every time we do something like this, we all learn something from each other. I hope you've all learned something. I'd love to pop in the chat the thing that you're going to take away tonight, whether it be a tip on how to make the buttermilk with the lemon juice, or whether it be I'm going to have a go at scones because I've never done that before. Whatever it might be, we hope you've got something out of it and you've taken it away, because when we cook together, that's what we want. We want everyone to walk away feeling inspired and a little bit more knowledgeable and ready to cook something. So if you'd like to be part of the team, please let me know. And we do have a business information session on Friday morning. Jump online, half an hour, find out the information. It might be for you, it might not. But if you've already got a team 6, you're already more than halfway there. So let me know. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Good night. And we hope to cook with you again soon. Bye. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Mandy.
Bye.
Bye. It's fun, as always.